Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taormina.
Welcome to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Taormina, blogger of the Jackets Den, one of the hosts of blogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts of Between Taorminas on Oregon Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends from Oxford Community Television who watch us every day. So we got three interesting topics coming up here. Excuse me, I got a little cold here going on, but we got three topics we got to talk about. We got football, of course. Do I think colleges should go and recruit athletes? Recently in the news, there was two colleges in the MAC, not in the Macomb area conference, but in the Mid-American Conference, Akron and Ohio University, offering an incoming Southfield freshman, Sam Johnson III, a chance to play college football for next year. So that's one question we'll talk about. The other one, you got four basketball openings now. Of course, recently there were two big ones that now came out. One at Southfield and the one at Lake Orion. Of course, now with Tom Reese no longer as Dragon coach, and also Gary Teasley no longer as Blue Jay coach. And what job you think could be better? And also to add to the jobs at Bloomfield Hills and Royal Oak. And the other one we'll talk is recapping the track and field recap. So we got three interesting topics going on. Of course, we have the red, white, and blue track recaps. Don't have much info from the blue, so we'll go with our best we can. But I pretty much know for sure, and I think Oak Park won it. So both boys and girls. So let's go first to our main story, which is in football, which is of course, the colleges offering them eighth graders. Do I think it's? I mean, like, there's an unwritten rule in the MHA that says that quote. You can offer, and here's a guy. Yeah, you can offer quarterbacks to play. You can offer players, that you've seen a tape of playing football, and I got no problem against the kid, Sam Johnson. But the problem is, here's a kid that hasn't played it down yet. Here's a kid that has not, and they think that this kid is going to be the real deal. Well, I got some questions for this kid, though. Here's the thing. I've seen a little bit of his YouTube clips a little bit. A lot of people call Johnson the YouTube sensation. Sometimes YouTube sensations don't always work out in high school sports, and I think that's a huge disadvantage when you look at the situation, what's going on with this kid. I know he was very pleased with getting those two offers from Akron and from Ohio University. But should these colleges be offered to give these players scholarships, even if they're still in middle school? And my answer to that is no. Here is why. One, here's a kid this kid has 4 years to play high school football. 4 years. And he hasn't. For me, he's got to prove on a varsity level. I think that to play high school football, but it's damning to see that these two Mid-American schools will be offering this young quarterback who's going to be an incoming freshman. And oddly enough, he's from Dearborn Heights. Of course, he's going to be playing his football at Southfield for the upcoming season. And there's really no clear-cut quarterback over there at Southfield. I think he's going to be your eventual starter for the game against Detroit Cass Tech. But these colleges, they see something. I know Akron is coached by Terry Bowden. He's one of the he used to coach at Clemson. Of course, his dad used to be the football coach at Florida State, Bobby Bowden. I just think it's a big mistake, to be honest with you, to give an 8th grader a scholarship early. I just don't think that it's a good idea because you look at the situation here. What if he gets hurt for 2 years? What if he gets hurt? Are you still going to give him a scholarship then? I look at what happened at Oakland University. You know what I mean? Remember Denzel Valentine? Of course, not a lot of people remember that. But when he got hurt, a lot of schools pulled out their pulled out scholarships. Only I know Oakland University did not, and look what he's done. He did for OU. So for the OU men's basketball team. That's the question that I have with playing with 8th graders getting scholarships early. You risk the fear of injury. You risk the fear of possibly not getting the player that you wanted. So and the question that I have for a team like Southfield is, and the question I have especially for this young man is, I know he's excited to play, but the problem is, this is a whole different competition though. Playing from, I would say and I know he's got Ford Field experience, but here the difference from playing like middle school experience from playing in high school experience a lot different, because you look at the situation that this kid is going to have to deal with. Of course, when he gets into Southfield, and here's a kid that's a very good student. He's a 3.8 student. But here's the thing that it's different dealing with OAA defenses compared to what's happened down south. If he would have been in Dearborn, he would have either been playing for Dearborn High or even maybe Fordson, maybe Dearborn Devon Child. I think that for him to play at Southfield is very interesting, because it clearly gives Southfield now a chance to be very good with how his talent is, but I'm very curious to see how he does against a good defense. And there's going to be teams in the white this year that are going to have stellar defenses. Harrison, Oak Park, Adams, I think are going to have 3 very good defenses. I think there's going to be 3 very tough games for Southfield, and also opening up with Detroit Cass Tech at Wayne State. Now that's going to be another tough matchup right there. But I know Southfield's got a lot of athletes that they're going to count on, especially when you look at the situation for the Blue Jays. That this is a team that Southfield is going to. This is going to be a good team. Of course, you have running back Mac Falcon there. Of course, I really think right early on, I just don't think that the Tim Connolly staff. I just really don't think that Southfield is gonna probably trust this kid early on. I really don't think that. The reason why I'm gonna say that is because, he's a YouTube sensation. He can throw the ball. He's got a good arm, but you have a guy going to Michigan next year, going to be right behind you. You can lean the ball too, but if they take away that passing game, then he's going to technically panic. That's typically what freshman quarterbacks normally do, is if running game is being taken away. But there are some other players that are special. They're special players. You know what I mean? You take a look at Sean Charette at Lake Orion. He was a special freshman who did very, very well. Of course, not a lot of people knew about DJ Zula, and of course, look what he did. Even though he was a 3-year starter. At Clarkson. And of course, you got this year going on Reggie Harris at Southfield Lathrop. I think he's having a good year over there. You look at freshman quarterbacks. It's difficult for them to adapt to the game. But you gotta be a special talent to pick up the game very quickly. I know that this kid has had to go through many camps. Of course, he played at Ford Field in a championship game. He played on a prestige football team there. But I just don't know if this kid, this Sam Johnson kid, is ready to handle the OAA. I just don't think, I don't know if he's ready to handle it. The reason why I say that is because, I think the OAA is much tougher than people think. And then, of course, you look at Southfield. This is going to be a team that I think really could. They're going to be a really good team. It wouldn't surprise me once again in the playoffs. I would think, the team that I think would give Southfield the biggest problems once they get in the playoffs would be Detroit Martin Luther King because of who they got coming back. They've reloaded a lot. This is a team that's very talented. They got all those transfers coming in from various schools around Wayne County, and also one from Grosse Pointe North. Of course, that was a school in Macomb County that are coming into Detroit Martin Luther King. So I think that would be a very tough road for Southfield. I think Southfield would have a much tougher road than I would say a team like a Harrison, who I think could be probably go north. It wouldn't surprise me if Harrison does go north. When I look at the White, I probably see at least 4 playoff teams this year, maybe 5. I know I see Harrison, I see Southfield, I see Adams, I see Oak Park. Out of those 4 teams in the playoffs, I really do see those 4 teams making the playoffs. I just don't see Farmington making the playoffs. Of course, recently hearing the news, reading the possible rumors about Desmond Kirkpatrick possibly leaving Farmington to go to Waterford Mott. I think that's an interesting story. It could have happened last year, but it did not. So when I look at that Desmond Kirkpatrick situation over at Farmington, I just think that, when I look at it, you're still going to be talented. I really like their defense a lot, but I think it's one less headache if he moves up to Waterford Mott. But then here's the problem. Do I think Waterford Mott, here's a team, not our league, but, of course, the Kensington Lake Athletic Conference North champions. Won a pretty tough conference last year, the Kensington Lakes North Division. Of course, you got Walled Lake, you got Walled Lake Western in there, you got Walled Lake Central in there, Walled Lake Northern in there. So it's a pretty tough conference when you look at it from that perspective. And I think, and of course, the recent rumblings over there with another quarterback possibly coming there. So I think it's a very interesting thing that's going on in Corsair country. And it looks like Waterford Mott really wants in on this situation. When you look at what is going on in the world of football right now, I think the top 2 stories are the Southfield. Do I think Sam Johnson, do I think he's got a chance to be very good, very talented? I think he does, but I just don't like the entourage he's dealing with. And then you got with Desmond Kirkpatrick possibly leaving Farmington. It'll hurt Farmington, but I think it'll give another guy a chance to be a special player. They're replacing a quarterback. They don't have a true running back. They're not going to be good in the skill positions, but their defense is going to probably be solid and carry them this upcoming season when you look at Farmington. So we'll keep an eye on all the situation coming up. Pretty much we'll see what happens with the situations going around over there. All right, now, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk. We have a lot of boys basketball news to cover about here on OAA Now.
Orion Township invites runners and walkers to come out to the 19th Annual Dragon Dash. Kick off the running season with a 5K course that begins and ends at the Orion Center and takes participants on the Pollyant Trail. Awards will be presented to the top finishers in numerous divisions. The Dragon Dash takes place on Sunday, May 17th. Registration begins at 7:30 a.m. and the start of the race is at 9. For more information, you can call 248-391-0304 extension 305 or visit oriontownship.org.
Welcome back to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Taormina. Of course, when you look at the, we're going to talk boys basketball now. A lot of news resembling in the past week. Of course, it, involves the city of Clarkston, especially with their boys basketball team. Apparently, it looks like Clarkston might have found their heir apparent to Dan Fife and Tim Waslick. Of course, Waslick looking like he's going to probably step down from the girls program, according to one source that an accurate source that I have. I'm not sure if it's true yet or not, but it's looking more and more like Tim Waslick could be stepping down as Clarkson girls coach. And for me, that would be a big loss right there for the Wolves girls program because but I mentioned this a couple months ago when Lake Orion played Clarkston. I said that there was a team that Orion was trending up and Clarkston was trending down. I guess that probably explains a lot, but here's a team that's still going to be very good next year. I mean, yeah, you do lose Erica Davenport, but you do return Kayla Luschenbach, who's going to be a sophomore, and then you got a very good player coming back, and I think it's Taylor Russell, who's very, very athletic, very good. So I think when you look at Clarkston, but also it would not surprise me for Clarkston if they move up Molly Nicholson. So Nicholson's an interesting one here because when you look at Nicholson and Luschenbach, probably a 4-5 tandem that could bring nightmares for opponents. You know what I mean? Especially that young duo and sophomores. I think that that could be an interesting duo over at Clarkston heading into the year. But the problem is Clarkston's in a really, really tough division. When you look at the red division, you're dealing with Southfield Lathrop, Harrison, Adams, Stony Creek on a consistent basis. That's not going to be easy, and I feel bad for Oxford because they're going to be in a really tough division as well. But you're playing those four teams. That's not going to be easy when you look at the teams that they have to play. Especially when you look at them, I don't know and we don't know. And of course, Waslick apparently being the heir apparent to Dan Fife. To me, it's a shocker to say the least because I always thought that somebody in staff would be the eventual heir apparent to Dan Fife when he leaves Clarkson. So what I've been hearing is Waslick's looking like he's going to step down from the girls program, going to be an assistant in the boys program heading into next year. And to me, that's just kind of a little bit of a shock, but talking to my source, it's pretty much set in stone that he might not be coming back to coach the Clarkson girls team. And possible candidates include you got his JV coach there. I think he would be a good fit. And then of course you got his two assistants, you know what I mean? I think when you look at Clarkston basketball, this is a program I think's got a lot of questions. You know what I mean? Heading into next year, of course. They have no true point guard. Except Megan Deerdorf is probably going to be their starting point guard. She's not a bad player either. But they don't have that Davenport type player that could dominate a game and do well. Excuse me. Or a player that can bail them out like a Davenport. Of course, Davenport last year bailed out Clarkson on many occasions. So I think it's an interesting situation there for Clarkson. When you look at that situation there, leaning for the Wolves, I just think personally, it's not a good situation over there at Clarkston when it comes to their girls program. And of course, their head man stepping down to become the likely heir apparent of the boys program. Now, Waslick's been a very successful coach at West Bloomfield, so whatever it is, So we'll see what happens over there when it comes, So that was a rumor right there. The other news from Clarkston, of course, could be a possible arrival of one of the top players in the state, one of the top sophomores in the state, who's going to be a junior next year, and Dylan Allman. Of course, here's a guy who was Davison's top guard last year. He had some games where he just went absolutely insane. He went nuts against Toledo Rogers, he scored 32 points in one game. And then he had a 31-point game against Fenton. And of course, he had another 31-point game against Flint Carmen Ainsworth, Flint Carmen Ainsworth this year was absolutely terrible. When you look at the team they had, Fenton was an okay team, but Toledo Rogers is a very good team. Of course, he was the MVP of that tournament matchup with Toledo Rogers. And Davison had a really nice year, but Davison's going to be a little bit young, and there was possible rumblings that his parents could be moving to Clarkston. And could you just imagine Allman and Lawyer teaming up? That could be... I know a lot of people are going to be going like dancing galore over there at Clarkston. I know Scott Bernstein, of course, writer of the Oakland Press, will be just like going like that could be probably the best backcourt in Oakland County. And I think it could be if that's the case. So I think it could be if that's the case. But when you look at the situation over at Clarkston, you look at what is going on with them. This year, I expect Clarkson to still be very good because you look at a guy like, but the question's still going to be who's going to be there inside. I don't trust Mitch Heaton as much. They don't really have a true post player there besides Lawyer and besides Armin. I just think when you look at the situation over there at Clarkson, and you bring in Lawyer and Armin, you know what I mean? Lawyer, of course, he's a guy that's had a 35-point game against Macomb, Dakota at Troy, and do you put if this was true, do you think you put Armin as your true point guard and put Lawyer as your shooting guard? When you look at a guy like Andrew Myers, of course, Lawyer ended up. It was Myers who ended up being the true point guard over there at Clarkson. So I just think when you look at the team heading into the year, in that situation, I just think the best case scenario right now would be if Armin does not go to Clarkston, then it's going to put a lot more pressure on Lawyer. But if he does, it takes the pressure off Lawyer, and it's going to make Clarkston probably one of the most deadliest backcourt teams throughout the state of Michigan. It would not surprise me if Clarkson does make another run in the state playoffs. So that's something that's going on over there at Clarkston. Very interesting. We'll keep an eye on that story if it comes true with Armin possibly becoming a Clarkston Wolf. Of course, he has told Cardinal coaches and players that he was going to be moving on to go to Clarkston. So we'll keep an eye on that situation as it unfolds. So and we'll bring you more news as future episodes. So now let's go to the coaching situations. Of course, 4 coaching jobs opened up. Of course, 2 of them recently. The big one, of course, I think would be the 2 big ones. I think are Southfield and Lake Orion. But let's go each job first. We'll go with Royal Oak first, of course. With that job, you got 2 very talented seniors coming back. The question with Royal Oak is going to be the work ethic. Of course, this team that really struggled a year ago. Of course, I would think personally when you look at that Ravens job, I think it'd be very interesting to see what type of talent they have. Of course, how the schedule is. And that's for every schedule when you look at it here. But Royal Oak's a very interesting job because of proximity, of location, even though their court's very small. You know what I mean? But I think it's a good job, I think, for them. To have over there. I think it's an intriguing job over there. And then you look at Bloomfield Hills, which I've been hearing a lot of recently. And to me, personally, when I look at the people who are in line for that job, Mike Moransky, I think, might be the best fit for that job over at Bloomfield Hills because here's a guy that is employed by the school district. He knows the program well. He's been waiting in the wings to get a job, to get a coaching job. I think he'd be the perfect fit, even over Jeff Rubin. Of course, I got respect for Jeff Rubin for what he's done over with this girls program, of course, but he's also got coaching both boys and girls experience at Andover. I don't think it'd be a good idea if Rubin coached both boys and girls programs. I really don't think it'd be a good idea. So I think personally, when I look at who I think right now is the best fit candidate for the job, at Bloomfield Hills could be. I think Mike Moransky, the assistant under Jeremy Detta. I think he's paid his lumps. I think he's done it. He's went through all the hardships. You know what I mean? I think it's now time for him to lead his own program. And I think when you look at the situation over there now, I think the perfect fit would be at Bloomfield Hills for this boys' job. Because, and you look at the boys' team over at Bloomfield Hills, here's a team that has a lot of underclassmen. Of course, this guy will take over for Dwayne Graves, who's now coaching at Clawson, which to me was a complete shock because I thought which is a complete shock. We'll go over Graves with the Lake Orion situation coming up, but coming up in a minute. But excuse me, it's cold. But you look at Mike Moransky, I think he's a perfect fit to lead the Bloomfield Hills program into the next level. Now the next job we're going to talk about is Southfield, of course. The Blue Jay job, of course, Gary Teasley stepped down. You could tell, you know what I mean, it's ready to go, you know what I mean, ready to move on. And when you look at Southfield, the talent there is not bare at all. This Blue Jay team is going to have a lot of talent. They have Amari Hardy, who's a very good guard. They got a couple others who are very talented. I think whoever gets the job at Southfield is going to be a very, very stable coach, very, very, very tough-minded coach, and I think it'd be a perfect situation for them if they want to go down south, during 9 Mile and Gloucester, of course, take over that Blue Jay program. Southfield's going to be a solid team this year. They're going to be very solid. And even in years in the future, I think Southfield's a very good job throughout the OAA. And I think when you look at the talent that's coming back, excuse me, it's cold. With the talent that's coming back at Southfield, I think when you look at the Blue Jays, momentum rise, it occurs that when you look at Southfield, you're contending against teams like Clarkston, North Farmington, on a consistent basis. Of course, you got your arch rival Southfield Lathrop in the division. I think it's a really, really good job to have, if you're coaching over at Southfield, to get the Southfield gig. But it wouldn't surprise me if one of the assistants takes the job because, when you look at Southfield, I think one of the assistants would be absolutely perfect for that job because they know the system and they know what's in line. And then the last job we'll talk about for sure is the Lake Orion job. Now this was kind of a shock when you look at it because this does have some ramifications, and I did open a question up, and we'll mention this in a minute. So with the Lake Orion job now being up, with Tom Reese stepping down Wednesday, I was supposed to bring a guest, my brother Anthony Taormina, to talk about this issue. Of course, he is the host of the Lake Orion boys basketball preview show. But when you look at the candidates, I wrote in my Dragon's Den blog who would be a perfect candidate. You know what I mean? I would say right now my front runner for this job would be Steve DeHart because of what he has done at Lake Orion. In the JV, he's made winning programs. He knows how to win in this level, and of course, we know Lake Orion Athletic Director Bill Reese likes to he likes to take unproven coaches. You know what I mean? Look what happened in girls volleyball with Tony Servata in taking over for Ross Talley. He was in the JV ranks. He coached the varsity ranks. I think that may be the best scenario to look at. And then, of course, I mentioned the Dwayne Gray situation briefly, but I did find out he's now coaching at Clawson. Of course, he's the head man now there. Clawson's an interesting team when you look at who Clawson's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting, especially with all the travel that Clawson's going to have to do this upcoming season. But I thought he would have been a good candidate to be at Lake Orion. Because it was his home. He graduated from Orion in 1994. I think it would have made the best case scenario if he would have coached at Lake Orion. The other guy I considered was Steve Laidlaw. Of course, he is the Avondale JV coach, has a lot of varsity experience. He coached at Oxford. I think it would be an interesting situation if he were to come into Lake Orion and coach. And I think the former Royal coach, I think, would be an interesting perspective. You know what I mean? So I think it really. And the other candidates I mentioned, of course, Randy Maynard, another one I think a possible good candidate right there. And then you got, of course, Lake Orion former coach Jim Manzo, who I think it would be interesting if Manzo does want the job. And then, of course, got Jack Ligaman. Of course, I mean, like, he'd be a good coach, I think. You know what I mean? But I think right now, I think there's truly, I would say, maybe 2 front runners for the job. I would say Steve Dehart's definitely one of the guys who who I think would be a very good candidate. I think that even though he's had the unproven track record of varsity coach, I think he would fit that system, I think, much more better. Because when you look at Dehart, what he's done with this team, with the JV team, the last 3 years, and he's taken this class who's an 18-2 JV team, which is now this year's senior class, and I think Dehart would be the perfect guy to coach this Dragon team right now. I would really, but also you got Steve Laidlaw, who I also think would be. But the question is, does Laidlaw want to leave Avondale? You know what I mean? But I think when you look at the decisions, I think that Steve Laidlaw or Steve Dehart, I think, are the 2 top candidates for this job. I really, really do. And you may think it's my opinion. I really think that could be the truth, because when you look at it here, I know Laidlaw's wanting to coach a varsity basketball program. I know Dehart's wanting to coach a varsity basketball program. And usually from knowledge sources, I would say that Bill Reese, the athletic director Bill Reese, would be he usually does is like if he's really stumped, he'd probably move everybody up. You know what I mean? I think I can see it right. I can see it right there is possibly moving up. You know what I mean? I would see it happening. I would see everybody moving up in the system in the boys basketball ranks. Even though it's very interesting when you look at the situation that is going on with the Lake Orion situation. Now, of course, there have been rumblings and rumors going on surrounding Noah Harris. Of course, I did report recently that Noah Harris was going to go to Oxford next season. But then I hear an interesting source from a very accurate source. He's a very accurate source, in rumblings that Noah Harris might stay in Lake Orion. So now the question I say on Twitter is he green or is he blue? And when you look at the situation for Harris, you know what I mean? Looking at the situation, what I think could be the best situation for Noah Harris, I think staying in Lake Orion, he's still in the Lake Orion schools right now, but we don't know where his decision is going to be hanging into this fall. I think the key factor will probably be the summer leagues and see if he is wearing Dragon Green or is he wearing Oxford Blue. So when I look at the situation, and of course, I talked to Stevan Henning a couple weeks ago at the middle school track meet. Of course, he coaches the Oxford Middle School shot putters, whereas I coach the Scripps Middle School shot putters. He was excited about getting Noah Harris. He was very excited, that he would bring in a kid like a Noah Harris, But the question is, you look at this coaching situation there, you don't know if, with the Reese departure, you don't know where Harris stands. And I've been hearing rumors that he could be playing at Orion. I've been hearing rumors he could be playing at Oxford. So it's a tough situation when you look at it from that perspective. The question would be, I think Noah Harris would look much better wearing Dragon Green than Oxford Blue because of this reason. I would say because like he would be a starter for sure. I know he'd be a starter for Stepan for sure, but for Stepan Hang for sure. But I would say, I think he got more weapons at Lake Orion this year than he did with Oxford because of the Oxford just lost 4 of their best players. 4 of their top starters, of course, and even Jamal Thomas, of course, leaving to go to Chicago. You know what I mean? So that I think when you look at the situation, if Harris decides to stay in Lake Orion, I think it's a huge plus for the Dragons. But if he goes to Oxford, that's a huge plus for the Wildcats. But the Dragons still have some talent there, even if Harris decides to leave and go to Oxford. So we'll keep an eye on that situation as that concludes right there. So we got some interesting basketball questions here. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it as we head to the summer. All right, now when we come back, folks, we're going to recap the track seasons. We're going to recap, of course, the league meets, the OA Red League meet, and the OA White League meet, of course, that occurred, and also the OA Blue League meet, and preview the regionals as well here on OA Now. Welcome back to OA Now. I'm Sammy Taormina. Of course, I'm going to recap the track and field league meets. Previously, that occurred this past weekend. And, of course, we'll preview the regionals from respect. We'll probably preview. I'm not sure where. One is at Olympia Hills. The other one, we'll preview the regional for sure. Who I think's got the best chance of possibly going to state finals for track. Of course, when you look at the baseball situation, it's still I still think West Bloomfield is in very good shape. I think Lake Orion is a team. I think that's still in good shape. So when you look at the red, I think it's Lake Orion's to lose. The red, they got to play Rochester Adams. And then you look at the white. I still think, even though Harrison and West Bloomfield, I think, are going to be battling for that league title in the white. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then the blue, I think Bloomfield Hills has that league title wrapped up. And then the gold, when you look at the gold, I think it's going to be I think Southfield Lathrop, I think, clearly has the favor in that division. So when you look at the baseball update there, and of course the softball update right now, Clarkson's got the league title wrapped up. Orion's just getting ready for the playoffs. I still think I still like Orion to knock off Clarkson in the softball playoffs, even though despite the fact they lost 2 games there. The white, I think it's all Oxford. Oxford's a dangerous team. I said this. I like this Oxford team a lot. Well, Jesse Granger's done a very good job with that program, especially with Sherilyn Bandis and Sky Donaldson leading the charge over there for a young pitching staff, and catcher, so that combo is starting to gel over there at Oxford. Of course, the blue, I mean, like in the blue and the gold, so we'll see what happens heading into the final weeks of the regular season before we head into the playoffs. But let's go with track and field. Of course, we're going to recap the league first. The blue, it wasn't much of a surprise that Oak Park won the league in both boys and girls, because when you look at the style of training Oak Park has, Oak Park's got a lot of athletes, of course, which was kind of odd because, Oak Park just smashed the field, Harrison's, I think, was a close second, so was a distant second, but you got to give Oak Park a lot of credit, especially for what they've done. I just didn't think a lot of people were going to touch I just didn't think there was going to be a lot of people that touched Oak Park, you know what I mean, in the girls. And the boys, of course, Oak Park won that one close, but Southfield was tough at the very end. But you got to give Oak Park, there's a reason why they're one of the favorites. And they just proven that they're one of the favorites because, they got the sprinting. I'm not still in their distance, but they got the sprinting, they got the relays, I don't think their thrower's that good, you know what I mean? But they have like a lot of the sprinting and the relays that typically can win you a state title, and they have that. And Southfield's a team that has a lot of speed, a lot of talent. So when you look at that situation over there, it's a nice blend to have for Oak Park, especially with what they've got coming up, especially in that regional down south with the Detroit area teams. So that's not going to be an easy situation, but I think Oak Park is considered to be one of the favorites as we head into the regional play. And then we go to the White, of course. The White actually took place on Thursday, you know what I mean, at Bloomfield Hills. So to me, there were a lot of shockers. I didn't expect Farmington's girls to win that, to win that meet. They had a lot of balance. They outlasted Seaholm. They outlasted Bloomfield Hills. That was kind of a shock to me because I did not expect Farmington to just go in there and win that girls meet in the radar. You know what I mean? So it really surprised me that Farmington's girls ended up winning the league meet. And, it neutralized Seaholm's distance depth. They neutralized and you got to give them a lot of credit, especially Maddie Trebison. And, of course, they beat Bloomfield Hills. Of course, Bloomfield Hills, I kind of view Bloomfield Hills' girls team. I know Nick Stratton very well. Good man. Bloomfield Hills' track team has had a history of sneaking up on people and winning the league meet. They won the they won the regional last year, sneaking up on some people. Well, not a lot of I don't think they're going to be snuck up on when regionals start, but they host them. But I just think when you look at the situation that's going on there, they've had a history of sneaking up on people and winning them for no apparent reason. They won the Oxford Invitational a couple weeks ago, sneaking up on the field. Bloomfield Hills got a lot of good talent. Amanda State's a very good shot putter. Diana Hope's a good hurdler. Sprints is about okay, you know what I mean? But Nick Stratton's done a very nice job with that girls program over there in that one. But I was surprised with Farmington's girls. They ended up winning it just enough to hold off Seaholm and to hold off gotta figure out the name. I know it's coming, right? It's coming. So, but I was disappointed with Royal Oak. Their score. I was disappointed with them. But it was nice to see Farmington, especially hold off a team like Seaholm. You know what I mean? And which was it was a shock. And Bloomfield Hills. That was the one that tipped my tongue. It was shocking to see with that. It was a very close meet in that one. And then the boys' side of the White, I was very wasn't surprised. It was a good meet between Groves and Avondale. Even though Groves, of course, held off Avondale. Of course, Groves led by Cedric Boswell. Of course, Boswell, very good football standout. And Avondale, of course, with Joshua Holman, of course, going to Cincinnati next year. Very good football standout. So I wasn't surprised. I was kind of surprised Groves won it because I thought Avondale would have been a perfect favorite to win that. But at the end of the day, you got to give a lot of credit to Groves for winning that regional. So it's a huge win for Groves. So it is what it is. So, and then we're going to go with the Red, of course. Red was a very funny meet at Oxford. It was a very funny meet. Because they had 2 rain delays. The meet ended up going on till 11 o'clock at night. Clarkson's girls ended up winning the Oxford invite, smashing the field. Lake Orion was second with 94, Rochester 92, Adams with 90. You look at I thought Lake Orion played much better. They're much better. They're a much better tournament team than they are a dual meet team, which is kind of a little bit odd because especially with the boys, I think the boys is a much better dual meet team than an individual team. But with Clarkson, you got to give a lot of credit to Kayla Lugenbach. You got did well. Taylor Mullins did well. Molly Nixon did well. They have some very good stud throwers. Alyssa Bay is a good thrower. They got a couple others, but you got to give Clarkson a lot of credit and the girls for doing what they did, of course. And of course, Clarkson's got a lot of good girls coming up, especially from their junior high school and also from their middle school at Sashaba. Like I said before, it's a huge win for Clarkston and their girls. You know what I mean? Do I think they're back? It looks like they are back. You know what I mean? It really seriously looks like Clarkson is back in girls track. And then in the boys, Lake Orion boys, I don't know what to say about this team. You know what I mean? There is something in Coach Stanford every year, you know what I mean, that makes this boys track team special. You know what I mean? This is a team that won a state title. Let's remember a couple of years ago. They've won 11 straight league titles. 10 of them in the red, 1 in the white. This is a team, I think, Lake Orion is a team in the rise. Distance is solid. Sprints are solid. Throws are solid. I mean, you get enough points in the field events to win these type of meets. Of course, the main talk of the meet was Lake Orion and Oxford because the way Oxford has played against both Lake Orion and Clarkston in the dual meets, which end up being losses for Oxford against both the Dragons and the Wolves. But you got to give Oxford a lot of credit. I was surprised that when I looked at the standing sheet that in the sprints, Oxford didn't do as well. In the field events, I took an interesting quote. You know what I mean? This is what their coach said. I think Coach Matt Johnson. He said that on NorthOaklandSports.com to Dan Stickrat. Dan Stickrat's a really nice guy. I would encourage those, you know what I mean, to I would encourage them to read NorthOaklandSports.com. It's a very, very good site. Very good, accurate ran site by Mr. Dan Stickrat. He does a heck of a job with it. But he said, quote, they cannot touch it in the field events. When I look at the field events standings, Connor Bandel won the shot and discus. But in the shot, Oxford had a total of 12 points. Troy Athens, meanwhile, took second, third, and fifth. In a tournament format, they just beat Oxford. They neutralized the Wildcats. They neutralized them 14-12. And to me, that was stunning in its own right. And then in the discus, of course, Bandel won that event. But, of course, Lake Orion found a way to neutralize that, led by Cameron Shaddai, despite the fact it was 16-8 in the point total. So, I think Lake Orion held their own in the field events. And then, of course, I think the big one was in that long jump. Actually, in the high jump, you know what I mean, where Orion placed. Oxford placed as well. But I just think that, and Orion took advantage of Oxford having a tough time getting points in the spring events. But the team I was most impressed with in that meet was Stony Creek, because here was a team that came out of nowhere. They came out of nowhere. There was a reason why they won the Pool B area. There's a reason why they did well in Pool B. I mean, they surprised me. They impressed me a lot when you look at the situation that it gave. Besides the rain delays and all that, Stony Creek ended up impressing me at the OAA League meet on Friday at Oxford. Previewing the regional, of course, Troy Athens are going east into Macomb County. I think it's going to be a tough time for them. When you look at it, of course, they're with Warren schools. I think it's going to be a very tough time for them. Oak Park, Berkeley, Bloomfield Hill. Oak Park, Berkeley, Seaholm, Groves, among them are going to go south. I think when I look at that situation there, I think it's a good opportunity for Oak Park to express their muscle and man and lady power, I think Oak Park will win their regional. I think when I look at the Lake Orion, when I look at the regional at Olympia Hills, I think it's going to be a very fun regional because you got Lake Orion, Waterford, Mott. I think it's going to come down to in the boys. I think Lake Orion, Oxford, and Waterford Mott's a huge player now because they have the distance, they have the hurdles to match with each team. The question is, does Mott have the sprints and throws? I don't think Mott has the sprints and the throws to match up with teams like the Dragons or the Wildcats. So I think it's going to either be Lake Orion, Oxford, or Waterford Mott that comes out of that winning the regional. And then the girls, I think that Olympia Hills got to keep an eye on them. Clarkston, Rochester, Lake Orion is a long shot, but those are the teams got to keep an eye on. And also got Waterford Mott, a team that also keep an eye on, along with Romeo. So it's going to be an interesting regional. It's going to be a fun regional. But also forgot to mention West Bloomfield is another team to keep an eye on, especially heading into that regional. So West Bloomfield's got a lot of talent. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. So we'll see what happens coming up in the regional week. We'll recap that for sure. Of course, district playoffs coming up in a week. So district playoffs coming up in a couple weeks. So we'll see what happens. Wish everybody the best of luck. Enjoy their day. And good night from the podcast. Good night, everybody.
OAA Now is produced at Orion Neighborhood Television, Lake Orion's community media outlet. To learn more about ONTV, visit our website at www.orionontv.org or call us at 248-393-1060.